Hi there. Welcome back or welcome to Recovering Out Loud podcast, the show where we get real about mental health and addiction. I'm so glad you're here. If you or someone you love is struggling with drugs or alcohol, please reach out for help. Send me a message on all social media platforms at Recovering Out Loud Pod or by email at recoveringoutloudpod@gmail.com. You are no longer alone. So I used to use my phone for the third camera.
Oh no.
And that's going to be triggering for everyone. Sorry. Especially if you're listening in the car.
Did I tell you I had a counselor at Rehab who did that? He'd start every class by opening a can of bubbly.
Every single class?
Every class. I was like, this motherfucker's doing this on purpose. Like, it was like remarkable.
That is like a very unique sound too. Yeah. Especially because I don't know if you heard, like, you're probably weird like me, but I can like tell when it's a beer and when it's like not a beer.
When it's not a beer, yeah.
Like that little pussy opening sound that I just did there, that was like, Red Bull.
Yep.
But that's really triggering. Wow.
Yeah, but I think again, it was like, wake up kids. You're going to be getting out of here someday. You're going to have to deal with this shit in the real world.
I had, so I work at a rehab now, and I get phone calls and messages from parents and stuff. And this lady was messaging me today saying that the fire pit and the pool table at the treatment center, she's like, isn't that triggering for people? Like, how can you, she was like upset, like visibly, verbally upset. Isn't that triggering for people? Like, how can you offer a safe environment when there's a pool table and a fire pit? Like, doesn't that give people urges to like spark up? She said, and I could
hope
tell.
You didn't tell her about the karaoke.
Yeah. Or the gambling card games that we play after.
Yeah.
But to your point, it's like I said to her, okay, you can't avoid triggers, and one, what better place to handle them and deal with them than in treatment, right? Your point is very valid. It's like, and it's an important point too, because I'm going to leave here someday, this bubble that I'm in, treatment bubble that I'm in, because it is a bubble at the end of the day, right?
Absolutely.
And I'm going to have to deal with walking by the patio and seeing that motherfucker enjoy his beer while I fantasize about it.
Yep. Watching that bum sneak a sip on the subway and be like, yo, dude, I could do that better than you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're doing it all wrong.
And truly a bubble. Because, I think we're talking about the same rehab, frankly. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the names of things on this.
I would just avoid saying the name of rehab. Yeah.
So this rehab, I stayed there for 47 days. And the minute I got out, I still understood that this thing isn't curable, but I still felt this like sense of confidence, this sense of ability. And I relapsed in less than 48 hours. And I couldn't believe it. I thought about the money spent. I thought about the time put in. But these are the lessons I had to learn, because it's like, now I can pass it on, and I can say that it's very for real. Yeah. That sense of the bubble. But my brother-in-law in Vancouver, he works at a place called The Junction. And what they do is they have activities for people in recovery. And he explained to me how things like karaoke, game shows, pretend casino nights, like this sort of thing is to not only remind us how much fun we can have in sobriety, that we are totally permitted to go and still do the things we did when we were drinking, just minus the alcohol. Yeah. But it's just to help normalize you as a person. It's to help remind you that like you can do anything a regular person can. It's just that you have to have your skill set in place. Yeah,
and to rewire your brain to not associate hitting a blackjack hand, for example, with doing a line of cocaine right after.
I was literally going to say do a line of cocaine after. Yeah. Wow. We're very similar.
Well, I mean, because that's what I did, right?
Right.
Blackjack and cocaine, like in casinos. That was like, that was my idea of fun. More so gambling, sports gambling, and cocaine. For me, but
I think cocaine obviously makes me think of Crazy Eights. We did a ton of blow while playing that card game.
Oh, really?
Anything to do with my hands or counting numbers or organization, I'm like, oh, because that was always my solution to my lack of focus or my sense of fear that I wouldn't get it right. Is like, I'm going to do this line, and then I'm going to be a superhero.
It won't matter too, right? Like the fact that I can't get anything right it just like disappears.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. All that sense of self, that self-righteousness, that was a really big downfall for me.
So you relapsed 48 hours after treatment. What was that like? How did that happen?
It was such a slide, much like my entire experience with addiction, one of those moments of how did I end up here again? But it was, I think knowing that when I would be getting out of rehab, I would be going back to my parents' house. And my parents' house is like the mecca of my addiction. It's like where all of the trauma started. It's where I drank for so many years. My mom is an alcoholic, untreated and unadmitted. And like, I just thought that's so dangerous. I can't be doing that. So I took up because we're still capable of doing completely reckless, mindless things even when we're sober,
Absolutely.
right? But I took up some man's offer. He was from Turkey, and he's like, I have space in my apartment down on Roncesvalles. You could stay here instead. And I thought in my head, like any sort of sexual advance he'd make, I could overcome that. And I did. I told him like back the hell off, but it still like hit my brain incorrectly. I went back home. I'd gotten the chicken pox as well. This is something I didn't realize after I'd left art. I had a few little blisters on my body. I'd never had chicken pox before. I was 32 years old. So I went to a walk-in clinic to be like, what are these things on my body? I'm an adult. And when I was leaving the walk-in clinic, I was like, you know what, Mom? I can get home from here. The minute I said that, my brain was like, you're going to go to the LCBO, aren't you? And sure enough, I did. And I got the tequila because something about a nomadic lifestyle I always associated with drinking. I could go anywhere, show up anywhere, sleep wherever. So long as I had alcohol, I could do anything. I was very brave. I was very comfortable. I was very resourceful and outgoing. And like, you know, until I drank for so much that I end up in the hospital, I can like maintain this kind of wild chaos. And so I was going to get that, you know, that tequila to keep in my backpack because that was my traveling companion. That was my like absolute best friend. It's got my back. It's going to make me feel better. It's going to make me be able to do this. And because I have all the skills at rehab, I'm sure it won't get out of control. But, you know, very quickly ended up in the hospital, especially like because of the chicken pox. They were sending me fevers and all that weird stuff on top of it.
Yeah.
But it really just happened, and it's almost in like someone else's body or some sort of dreamlike state where I find myself leaving the rehab, having made all of these friends, this joy and excitement I felt for this new life I was ready to have, but I just did not understand the insidiousness. I did not understand the cunning part of the cunning, baffling, and powerful bit. It's like, it's real clever. And it was still very much behind the wheel, and I was still lying to myself. But yeah.
Wow. Thanks so much for coming down, Chloe. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you so much for having me. This is seriously like maybe the coolest recovery-based thing that I've done since I got like really on the right path. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, you walked in here and you did like a fucking Step Brothers routine here. There's so much room for activities and you're dancing around and I love you, man. You're awesome.
You.
Like, that was great.
You too, man.
That was great.
Step Brothers, that means I have to hit the drums after, right? Yeah.
Fuck you,
say
Dale.
that.
Fuck you.
You don't say that. Did we just become best friends?
John Bonham playing Moby Dick for real. Fucking love that movie. Oh, that's so good.
I think when I laugh, I better move my head back a bit because I got a loud one.
You're gonna break the machine here. No,
that would just be my luck.
No, it's all good.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about how you came into recovery, and what that moment kind of looked like where you had enough, you wanted to make a change, and then how did you go about doing that?
Okay. So I'm trying to bring my brain back to, right. So when I was in very active addiction, I went to this wedding. I was originally the maid of honor, but the bride had to tell me because she could see I was not going to make any kind of change anytime soon. And I was not a reliable person anymore. So I was demoted to bridesmaid, but I had this wedding and I met this guy named Andrew. And he is not in the program, but he is one of those remarkable people who, despite not having any experience with addiction, just seems to have like an understanding of it and this like endless compassion. And so we did start to date, and he's this wonderful guy. I believe very much so that my higher power made sure to put this person in my path, because while this is not the way to stay sober, it did start as doing it for him because he was going to leave and I didn't want to lose him. Because even through my drunken stupor, even though I was still hiding alcohol all throughout his house, doing tons of cocaine without him knowing, I knew I really didn't want to lose this person. Yeah. So that's how it started. And it started by just detox centers, because I would drink so much to the point of being like mad hysterical and angry and volatile and not kind. And so it started at detox centers. And then I went to CAMH for a month, and I came back again immediately. The minute I got to that house, my parents' house, which is where I now live, miraculously enough. But that house, I went straight for the mouthwash because it was the only thing I could find. And then it slowly just started to pick up. And this was his experience for like years, me making these promises, me making small changes. It seems to be working, and then it's not. And then he finds the tequila again, and he gets very upset, and we try. But he was never demeaning or degrading or violent. And so that was another reason why my brain was still aware, like, this is someone special. And no matter what capacity you end up in, don't lose this human. But that's the thing, is the reason it didn't stick for so long was because it was for him. Because it was to get my mom off my back, because it was so I could prove to other people that I wasn't a total disaster. It had nothing to do with doing it for me, because as I would come to understand, I came to the program, I came to even the beginning of the recovery journey with not low self-esteem, but no self-esteem. And I'd been that way my entire life. Little did I know. But I'll talk, so it was like, in and out of detox centers, treatment centers. And the only difference, I believe, to all those moments where I meant it with all my heart when I'd say, I'm never doing this again. I cannot live like this. Please, God, help me stop. The only difference between those times and the time when I actually did finally stop was that there was no crying. There was no big dramatic emotion. It was just a sudden understanding of just how much my higher power had always seen all along, and how how hard it was working for me. And so it was just like a switch. I'd set up this whole situation where I was staying in Caledon with a friend and her parents, because I was no longer allowed at my house, and they have no booze there. They have cats. It's in the middle of the woods. It's like, you can get out of yourself, get out of your life. And I would attend meetings on Zoom, and I managed to keep up my sobriety for months this way. And then the family goes on this 80-day cruise, and they entrust me with their home and their cats. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. And the minute the door closed, it's that silence that falls and that brain that starts talking. And suddenly I need a drink to hang out with myself, because I can't be comfortable in my own skin. So suddenly I'm walking through the woods to this LCBO convenience. I buy all this vodka, I buy all this wine, I go back to the house. I start drinking, I start cooking. I'm thinking I can have this fun time in this place by myself. I'll just drink a little bit, I'll keep it under control. The same lie, never even hearing how often I'd said it, but only looking back now. And of course that didn't last very long, because every time I relapse, it's harder, faster, stronger every time. So I immediately end up in that state where I don't know what time of day it is or even what day it is. I'm in a bed, I'm rolling over just to wake up, just to have some more to drink, then to finally go back to sleep. And eventually I wake up, there's no more booze left, and I'm starting to throw up, and I'm going through withdrawal. And I know how dangerous withdrawal is because of how many times I've been told in the hospitals at this point. So I call their neighbor and I tell her, it's 4 a.m. I'm sorry, you're going to have to take me to the hospital. So the first moment was there. Chloe actually wants to live. Mm-hmm. That's new, because every time I was hoping I just wouldn't wake up, right? So this is new. I'm going to do this thing where I call this person and fuck all the shame, fuck all the embarrassment. I got to go to a hospital because I suddenly don't want to die. And she gets me there, and she's in total shock because the people who live in the house didn't tell the neighbor. By the way, she's an alcoholic and she relapses constantly. Yeah. So she's like, I don't know what's happening. And I was like, don't worry, this is what they're going to tell you. This is what I'm lying on the floor of the waiting room too. She's like, are you all right? I'm like, I will be. I need you to listen very carefully. It's going to be intravenous. It's going to be this many hours. It's going to be and then I'm like, what is this question on the form? I'm like, it's just referring to the, it's like.
C, click C.
Yeah. Just memorized, bitch. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
And she's just all shook up and stuff. So I stay, I get rehydrated at that hospital. I get an Uber from this hospital in Palgrave to get back to the house in Caledon. And I'm meanwhile I've reapplied to the sober living house I was at before Caledon. I relapsed at that sober living house, was discharged, but I had reapplied, I'd done the interview and everything. And that had gone well. So I get back to the house and I'm like, okay, deep breaths, we feel better. What are we gonna do next? I think I need a drink before I really make any more plans. Already it's starting again. That I know the path through the woods now to the LCBO convenience store, so I'll just do that again. It'll seem shorter this time because I've done it before. Yeah. And I get a call, and it's a sober living house, and they're like, we never do this, but do you want to move in this Saturday instead of the following Tuesday? And I said no. And that was it. That's that other human that lives within. That's my addiction. That's I'm having you all to myself, baby. Yeah. You're not going anywhere. And so I said no. I'm really enjoying myself up here in Caledon. I'm really finding out some things. And I've been hanging out with the cats. It's really therapeutic for me. And the woods and shit. And they're like, yeah, we don't need all that. Just say no. We'll see you Tuesday. I'm like, Tuesday. Okay, 72 hours it takes for alcohol to leave my system. I'm going to have to do a pee test when I'm there. That means I have until to drink, right? And I'm like, all right. And then I get a call, and it's my mom. And she says, hi, honey. The neighbor called the family in their cruise in Buenos Aires, told them what happened. They love you, but you need to get the fuck out of their house. They do not want you there anymore. And I was like, yep, fair. Call the sober living house back immediately. Never mind, Saturday sounds great. And that was the switch. That was when it all started clicking, because I was like, I kept that thought to myself. I did not say out loud, no, I'll see you guys Tuesday. No, for the convenience store. I was like even like just doing things so politely to almost pretend I wasn't going to go do that thing. And then there it is. She's like, you got to get out. So I officially have nowhere to live. So I call the sober place and I'm like, yo, Saturday sounds great.
Just kidding.
yeah. I was like, these cats, I'm sick of them. The trees suck. I'm bored. Let's go.
One of them peed on me. Yeah.
So I started packing up my stuff and I call Andrew. And Andrew and I aren't dating at this point in my story. He and I haven't been dating for a while, but the miracle man that he is, he's still in my life today. We're still the bestest of friends. I'm going to see him tomorrow because we work out together every Saturday with my trainer, David. Yeah, I love the people I have in my life today. Like, oh my goodness. But anyway, I call him because he is a rock. And I'm like, listen, here's what's happened. Here's what I need. I need to be with you. I need to be at your apartment until Saturday because I need to not drink. I officially don't have 72 hours. I'm too afraid. I'm too aware of the fact that I have no control. That's when it all started happening because I'd had that plan and I'd kept it to myself, and my higher power made sure that that scared neighbor would make a long distance call to Buenos Aires, and Buenos Aires would make a long distance call back to tell them she has to go. If no one had done that, I absolutely would have relapsed again in Caledon. I absolutely don't know if I'd have survived it. I absolutely don't know what the neighbor would have done if she'd been like, no, fuck you, I'm not doing that again. That was insane. Like, it's just what if, doesn't matter.
All these things
this is what
up.
happened. Yeah. So I was like, I like literally looked up at the sky like this, like, okay, I give up.
Yeah.
I give up. All right, you see everything. I fucking get this now. Shit. So I just start packing my stuff. Andrew's like, you got it. I'm like, I love you. Hang up. Get an Uber out of Caledon. Go down to Andrew's place. Of course, I'm crying because now he sees how hard I'm trying, and that now I'm doing it for myself, and it's still not working, and it's still this impossible thing. But at least he does see that I'm trying, and so he's like, yeah, you can stay. And then on top of that, I'm like, also, my brother is going to come and hang out with me while you go to work. Because I still don't trust myself. How many times did I sneak out of Andrew's very apartment to go to the LCBO to blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, like, even if I feel like I really won't drink, I don't care. I don't believe anything I believe anymore. I am not in control of this thing. So I was like, and Danny's going to be with me all the time. Danny's my bro. When you're at work, and he's like, sounds good. I'm like, okay. So I made it to the sober living house. March 2nd, 2023 is the last day I ever had a drink. And
it's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. It is actually amazing. We are miracles because when you think about the impossibility it was before, it's amazing. It's fucking incredible. So that was the last date. That was at Caledon. That was the day I got back from the hospital after having been rehydrated, packed my stuff, got to Andrews, got into the sober living place, graduated from that sober living place, Ingalls House for women only. It's awesome. To their second location, which is the Delaware House, which is where you have fewer restrictions, but still, of course, please no drugs or alcohol on the premises, either in your body or on the shelf. And then from there, I started staying at my parents' house more. And I started to be of maximum service to my dad, who was getting super old, losing his mind, my mom, who is her own creature and who has her struggles, and my bro. And it was like, eventually I wasn't at the Delaware location as often. My stuff was there, but I was really happy in North York because that's where my home group's always been. And now I don't have this commute to my meetings. And isn't this kind of miraculous that I'm actually enjoying being in this house and I no longer feel like drinking? And now today, there's liquor everywhere in the house. And when I open the fridge, there's the stuff, but I don't have that desire whatsoever. I'm like reaching for that protein shake that's behind that beer. I'm reaching for that water. I'm reaching for that pineapple juice, whatever, because that's what I actually crave now these days is like this water you brought me. I was like, oh my God, I can't wait. I can't fucking wait for the water. But yeah, I hope that answered your question. I didn't go on too long.
No, it was amazing. That was really well said.
Oh, bless.
It's like, it's so hard to ignore when the universe, just higher power universe, just throws all these things that line up perfectly in your life. And I was getting goosebumps like as you were talking about it, because there was you describe, I do that all the time where I'm kind of like, I'm in this moment and I'm just like, I just look up at the sky and I'm like, okay, like either thank you very much, I love you and I'm crying because I'm grateful, or okay, I get it. Like, fine, I'll listen, I'll submit, right? I'll stop doing things my way for once, you know? And that's really what it comes down to is like, is Chloe going to continue on doing things her way at this point? Or have I had enough where the fear of staying the same is greater than the fear of change? Right. And that's all that was in that moment, is like, you were so scared at least I don't want to speak for you, but what I got from that was like, you were so scared to keep living the way you were living because you weren't sure if you were going to live really. Right. Yeah. And so that the fear of, change became a little bit less, right? A little bit less than, because making that first step, in my experience, coming back from a relapse especially, is by far the hardest thing. It's like anything, right? Starting at the gym, trying to lose weight. Like it's always that first step that is the hardest one.
Absolutely.
Right? Because in our minds, we're sure that, I always say this, but the mountain to get into recovery, to get back into rehab, is filled with like booby traps up a hill, and it's always raining, right? And it's like a fucking 90-degree, slope to get back and to do whatever it is. And then you do it and you're like, this is getting easier, right? Like, now I'm not thinking about alcohol, to your point, anymore. There's alcohol all over the place. It is a miracle. It's a miracle that for someone, our stories are very similar. Mine was just more around stimulants than alcohol, right? I was able to, like, the thing with me was whenever I picked up alcohol, I was like, what was next? What was next? What was next? So I'm an alcoholic 100%. There's no doubt about it. But I gravitated more towards the stimulants, and I think that's a part of your story too, right?
Big time.
Yeah. So, but it's the same shit, right? Same shit, different shovel. I heard someone in Utah say that one time.
I like that.
Gambling.
That's such a Utah sounding thing.
Yeah. Same shit, different shovel. Yeah. Very red state. Very red. But like, it's all the same. And it's a miracle that, you can live in a place that you couldn't go 1 minute. I really liked what you said about, I needed a drink to, you said it nicer than this, but I needed a drink to live with myself, to deal with me. Yeah. And I can relate to that. Like this squirrely sort of, what's not, do this, do that. I know what'll fix this. And that's why I do these videos on Instagram now that I actually really love making, because it's like, it's me versus my addict brain. Right. And it's like, I've literally created this character where it's this guy, and it's essentially the devil, whatever you want to, whatever analogy you want to use, but that motherfucker is always there, right? He's always there. And so like at any point in my life, especially when things are going well, but when things are going bad too, it's like, it's like that guy on my shoulder, that person that's always there, just like, hey man, remember that one time when you had that vodka soda at the bar? And then in my brain, like the night just kind of ends there, right? It's like I'm just sitting at a bar enjoying a vodka soda, and I'm just like leaving out the fucking next 6 hours, 6 months, 6 years of my life that worked awful, right?
That was nice.
Yeah. And it's just like gone. It's like a Family Guy cutaway, scene where, and that's it, right? But that's not reality. That's not my experience,
And in our literature, it says that we would cease fighting anything or anyone or something like that. Yeah. And I think that includes what you're describing, because I totally, the devil, the like my alter ego, whatever you want to call her, I don't want to hate her. And I don't want to not acknowledge her. Yes. She's totally a part of who I am. Yeah. And sometimes she gives me some things that are one of my better qualities. Almost like being really outgoing serves you very well if you're trying to get alcohol, but it also serves you very well if you're trying to get recovered. Yeah. So I don't want to dismiss her, but it's such a beautiful thing to imagine no longer having to fight her. Just like, hey, want to hang out? You're not going to hurt me. I'm not going to let you, but we can hang out. Yeah. We can get to know one another, and like, I forgive you, it's chill. Yeah.
That person, that entity, that whatever plays a role in your life, right? 1,000%. But that's it. It doesn't have to run your life. I don't have to hate him. Yeah. It's like you're managing a team, right? And then she's one part of it. He's one part of it, right? Yeah. And that's really well said.
Something Andrew gave me that just reminded me. He's like, because I've worked in the service industry so much. He's like, okay, think of it like this, Chloe. He's like, you have two managers. You have night manager and you have day manager. And every fucking day, this day manager shows up to see the place looking like this. It's like everything's broken, money's missing out of the cash. Like people are sleeping on the bar. Like, what the fuck happened? Yeah, exactly. The window's broken again. And it's like so much inexplicable shit. And like, you're like, sorry. And then the day manager has to clean it up. And every day the day manager is pleading with the night manager. Can you please not do this to me anymore? Like I have other things I want to get done. But every time I show up, there is such a mess to clean. I can't do my own life. I can't live past this mess that you make every night. And the night manager's like, yeah, bro, I'm so sorry. I got to clean up my act. But then when the day manager leaves, no change. Then the night manager's back in charge. So I just love that. I love that
That's
idea.
a great analogy.
You said team. I'm like, yeah, two managers in my head. One's like during the day, the other one's like, party.
That's a great
but
analogy.
You can't fire either of them.
Yeah. The poor day guy. Yeah, he just always has to deal with the fucking night guy's shit.
Yeah,
all the
he's
time.
like, doesn't that make you feel more guilty? I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Now I need to drink.
Oh, that's amazing. You talked a little bit about higher power. I think it's important to acknowledge, what does faith, spirituality, God, higher power, what does that look like? What does it mean to you today? And how does it help you stay sober?
Wow, that's a good question. What does it look like? An openness, I guess, is the first thing that wants to come out of my mind. I had a moment today. I was thanking God for my incredible day that I've already had, because I had 2 great phone calls back to back. And I was like, I started acknowledging the fact that my higher power can probably sense I'm still unsure if my higher power trusts me, but its love is unconditional. So I'm getting used to unconditional love by talking to my higher power. I do actual direct prayers from this great 12-step prayer book my sponsor gave me, or like the prayers that we all know and love from the meetings. Just even the repetition helps me get out of my head. But I also just talk to it like a person, like just like someone who has known me my entire life, who gets it, and will forgive me if I like do a bit of a rant. And I'll even like preface it. I'll be like, I'm a rant. And then I just let it all rip. And then I go, I'm sorry. I know it's supposed to be resentful, whatever. Like, when I like throw in all this sass, but it's still going to love me. It's still going to be like, Chloe, that's so you. Fucking bitch, get your shit together. Like, it's like, but it's still going to love me. It's still going to be there for me. And I have to honor that, because that's a beautiful thing. And so faith looks like that. Looks like sometimes I even literally just turn my hand. So my palm is up. If I'm walking or I'm sitting, I just turn my palm up, just like even one hand. And I will believe, I will have the faith, and then I will physically feel a hand just sort of landing. And oftentimes if I'm walking, it'll really be like a warm breeze will suddenly hit me, or I'll walk into and the sun will warm it, or something like that. But to me, it's like, if I ever have those moments where I'm feeling a little, I'm grabbing that will back because of fear of something, I'll just turn my palm up. And it's like right there. Yeah.
There's actually science behind that too, that when they say when you meditate with your palms open, it allows energy to come in, right? You're receiving energy. And you mentioned openness. I love that. You know, it forces you into a state of mindfulness, because you're physically noticing something that you're doing, right? Yeah. Even sometimes, like I'll go like this, and I'll just like rub my fingers together, and it's just like, okay, yeah, I'm here now, not tomorrow, not yesterday, because those days don't exist. I'm doing that thing again, right? That's beautiful.
Yeah, and terribly comforting, and it's very vulnerable too, right? Yeah. It's like the palm is like your underbelly. It's like when dogs like lie on their backs and they like do that, it means like I surrender. Yeah. And I think that's where we even got like the white flag thing from, because wolves always have white bellies. Anyway, that's off topic. But yeah, but it's like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna trust that, something bad's not gonna happen, and it doesn't, and then there it is. And so the more I do that, the more I begin to trust in general, and then the faith gets stronger. And so when I'm afraid, I will turn the palm up, I will look up, I will talk out loud. Sometimes I just wrap my arms around myself, I give myself a big old hug. And this gesture in particular is important to me, because before my drinking became the center of my world, I would go through hardships, and I would hug myself, and I would rock, and I would sob, and I would say, you're going to be okay. We have been through something like this before. We have fought with our mom before, and she has said things to bring us so low. We have broken up with guys before, and it has broken our hearts and made us terribly sad. We have failed tests. We have failed before. But you're here, and you're doing well now, and that pain has left. So it's going to happen again. But when I started drinking, and when I started doing all the cocaine and all of the like Ritalin, Vyance, like all that stuff, that shame started to creep in, particularly when I brought it on stage, because I was a working actor before drugs and alcohol became the most important thing in the world. So when I would never forget being on stage and delivering my monologue, and I felt fucking nothing. And it was devastating, because we were performing because the audience had voted for us to be the play that gets that last spot at the venue in the Fringe Festival. I just look over at my co-star, and I'm saying the words from the monologue, but all the subtext is, I'm so fucking sorry, bro. You totally know what's happening right now, and this is a disaster. So that shame was so powerful that I no longer could hug myself. I just let myself cry. I was like, you fucking deserve it. Sit in your shit, you stupid bitch. Like just the meanest of languages. Yeah. So if I would go to touch, it was the way I also couldn't look in the mirror. A lot of people talk about that. It's like impossible to acknowledge yourself when you dig yourself deeper and deeper and deeper. So that gesture, now that I can do it again, That's a really good one for me too.
Hmm.
And that's that faith, that reminder that like you can get it back. It is possible. Life's gonna kick your ass.
Yeah.
But you're gonna be okay.
Yeah. When you say get it back, you mean like get the faith back, or
get the faith back, get the sense of self back, get your happiness back.
Yeah.
This is temporary. Yeah.
This too shall pass.
This too shall pass. That's the one.
That's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I don't know if we met in Vancouver, and I'll quickly tell that story because it's kind of funny, but I was sitting in a podcast meeting that they were having, which was like kind of a weird podcast, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I tried listening
like
to
the sound effects.
Yeah, they had all these weird sound effects. As I was watching that, I was like, should I start doing this in my podcast? And then I was like, no, absolutely not.
Thank God, I thought maybe you would.
Yeah,
I was like,
they had all those like cheesy radio sound effects.
Yes.
That's right. I'm probably not going to do that. Quick pause. If this conversation is hitting home for you, and you're a parent or a loved one of an addict, wondering what's happening with your son, daughter, or loved one, there's a book I've been recommending a lot lately. It's called What's Wrong with My Teen? And it doesn't sugarcoat anything. Susan Raphael talks about mental health, addiction, and how to actually connect with your kid again without shame or fear. Worth checking out. Link is in the description. That right, but I'm sitting there, I'm watching it, and I see you walking down, and you know the whole row's open, and you're like, is the seat open? And I'm like, yeah, no, you know. And I'm thinking, I see Toronto on your name badge, and I'm like, oh, she's sitting over here because I'm from Toronto. You sit down. I'm like, we're in Toronto, and you had no idea I was from Toronto. It was so funny. Yeah. We were talking for like 5 minutes, and then you realized that we were both there. But it's funny how like in a 35,000 people conference. Mm-hmm. Mostly from the United States, and then 2 Toronto people just kind of sit beside each other, and then you were with a bunch of other people who I love, and I've known some of them from before. Mm-hmm. And it was amazing, and I'm really happy that you and I connected and you came down. It was a great experience, right? I'm
so grateful too.
What was that experience?
I picked that
like?
row because there was no one sitting on the end, so I wouldn't have to be like, excuse me,
oh,
sorry.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, perfect, just jet right to the middle.
Right out if you wanted to leave. Yeah. What was the conference like for you?
Kind of a whirlwind, totally exhausting.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Holy crap. I was tired in ways I didn't know I could be by the end of that thing. But awesome. Another really good lesson for me of my like perfectionist, overachieving brain. I didn't do it all. I'd make like a wish list on that app they had for it of like what schedule, meetings today. Yeah. I'd make like 1% of what I had wished for, but that was okay because we were tired.
And there was like 1,000 of them too.
Yeah, they're happening at the same goddamn time. It's like, okay, I can't do it all. Hard lesson for Chloe to learn because I'm so full of myself, but you can't do it all. But that was part of the beauty of it, was going, oh, everything is a lesson, and I always want to be learning. Keep that mind open, set aside prayer, like just like always teach me what I still don't know. And what I still don't know is how happy I will be not achieving the things I think I have to achieve in order to be happy. Lo and behold. And little thing like, all of the what wouldn't have happened if I hadn't. But yeah, that conference was phenomenal. First day I was like, okay, this is a lot. And I remember thinking to myself, because again, of course I'm going to think about something that I'm not going to have to worry about for 5 years, but I was like, I don't think I'll go next time just because this is like so extreme. But then by the end of the conference, that guy Scott's up there and he's like talking to 35,000 people, but it's all about me. Yeah. He's talking to me. He's like, I'll see you in St. Louis. I'm like, you will, Scott. Yeah.
People pleaser.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, Scott's going to notice if I don't go. He'll be like, what the fuck? That bitch flaked? Wow.
5 years from now. I love it. Oh man. We're all the same.
Exactly.
Just thinking about something from so far away that's so relevant. I love it. Oh, that's amazing. Oh man.
So I definitely recommend 10 out of 10 on Yelp or whatever for in terms of experience. Like that was a tremendous time, and the whole trip was really important to me because I got to see my sister who lives out there too. I got to swim in the ocean. The ocean is something that is very important to me. Yeah, it's like
nice.
It's
Pacific in Vancouver.
Yeah.
I don't know if I mentioned that, but yeah, that's amazing.
And my sister in Vancouver, she's the one who has the husband who works in recovery. So I knew I'd get to spend time with him. I knew I'd get to go back to a city that I owe some amends to because I did go there at one point when I was in slightly more active addiction, not as terrible as it would someday become, but I was having an affair with my married acting coach. And I can look at that girl and I can be like, what were you? Come on. But I don't have to do that to her. She didn't know any better. She's just in her 20s and got someone paid attention to her, and it was like everything at the time. So I got to go and make amends to Vancouver, to myself, see my sister, and it was the first time I'd seen my sister since our sister had passed last year in November. So that's why that whole trip was totally
Wow.
fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still do acting?
Well, I was in that play last year. I was in a play last year. It was called 13 Plays About ADHD all at the same time. And we performed at the Assembly Theatre in October, and then we got to do a remount at the Toronto Sketch Fest in March. And it was a total blast. That was a real higher power moment. This director, Alec Toller, total genius, just emailed me out of the blue saying, I've written this really weird play. It might be really bad, but would you like to like be in it? Because we'd worked together before. And here I am thinking that everyone's noticed I've disappeared. Everyone's wondering where Chloe is. But no, he's like, no, I hadn't. I just assumed you were still acting. I was like, oh my God, no, I've been like in a hell of my own making.
That's so kind. He's thinking about me and how I'm doing.
Like, are you sure? Like, was my response, because I was like, he must know what a terrible, untrustworthy person I've become. But he did it at all. He's like, you're the same wacko. So come be in this weird play. And I was like, okay. But from there, I took some classes, and yeah. And the thing is, this is what I can no longer deny when it comes to the acting thing for a while, because as I said, I brought it on stage and I thought, I've sullied this now. Acting was my first addiction, really, like live performance. But I'm not allowed nice things anymore. You ruined it, you stupid girl. But now I don't feel that way. And I remember what a counselor at St. Joseph's Detox had said. He and I got to talking because he'd been a stand-up comedian in England, and then he started drinking. Drinking got out of control, especially in a comedy bar situation. It's like, and I'm not referring to the comedy bar of Toronto. I just mean a comedy place with a bar. It's really hard to avoid drinking. But it got out of control. His friends noticed, and he backed down. And for the longest time, he felt way too ashamed to even approach those clubs anymore, to even talk to any of those people anymore. But one day, he's feeling a bit better. He's got a few more years under his belt, and he goes to see a show, and his friend's there, and he's like, dude, you don't have to drink to be here. We just miss you. We love you. He's like, it was like when you go to a meeting and they're just happy to see you. He's like, just come here. He's like, I won't drink with you. Just, you're funny. You got to get back to it. And so he did, and now he does in Toronto do little stand-up things and sketch shows. And I told him about the acting dilemma, and he's like, Chloe, I'm promising you, if you don't do it, you're going to walk around with a hole in your heart. You're going to feel that feeling. And he's absolutely right. So the next step, without overwhelming myself, is continue maybe dipping into some classes. Otherwise, get that agent again, get back to auditioning, just like go and do my thing. Because I think in recovery, I believe that when we've worked hard and we have a certain amount of time or healing accomplished, I can say without it being prideful, I am very good at what I do on that stage. So I would really love to see what I can do now when I can bring this lived experience to the table, because I have a little bit more perspective on what's actually scary. And going into a room, just reading some lines, probably poorly written, a script, like that's not as scary as it once was. And I've got that edge now. Yeah. I'm like Robert Downey Jr. basically. Yeah. Like, you know, we're going to be best friends. Like, oh my God, I can't wait.
You're going to be on 10 more podcasts after this. And I was the first one. So you're welcome.
Oh my God.
And I feel grateful. Oh man. Yeah, no, I didn't know that about you. And maybe you told me, but I think you'd be really good at it. And
thank you.
Have you ever tried doing stand-up? Thought about doing stand-up?
I actually haven't, but I have been told many times that I should. And I'm thinking like, yeah, why not? Give that a go too.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Especially if I could, I think I could manage to talk about, you know, I wouldn't be representing AA, of course. And I wouldn't break anyone's anonymity, but I think I could come up with some pretty funny rants about what it's like to live with this brain, and people would relate. Absolutely. Maybe more people than I realize. And for the other people in the audience who like don't get it and who think this is the weirdest set I've ever seen, they're really not going to bother me. Yeah. I feel bad for them.
Yeah, I think you have a unique experience. And I had a guy on here, Andrew Barr, who is a comedian, and he's in recovery too. And he was great. Yeah. He said that he was constantly talking about addiction in his bits, and then he kind of like tailored off a bit, right? So you kind of grow and change with it. But no, I think you'd be good at it. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
What would you say is like the most important thing in your recovery, right? Like to someone that, you know, can't stay sober, keeps relapsing, like what is the most important thing that keeps you sober today?
Service with my sponsees and prayer. Like anything I do to create that connection to my higher power. Whatever moment I take when I realize, oh fuck shit, I'm out of it. I've fallen out of the connection and I gotta get it back. That helps. So prayer, meditation, talking aloud to the guy.
The guy.
That's like, I'm like, hey guy.
The boss. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, very much so. Or I do talk to my grandma, my sister, not so much my dad, but that's another story. But yeah, but being of service, like first it started with just making coffee, right? And then it was set up. And then I was elected secretary. Now I'm elected secretary for a second year. Now I have 3 sponsees. It's like, make yourself accountable. Give yourself reasons. You got to show up, and especially start small. You know, maybe greeting is too much for some people. If you want to just like stay in the back and do the coffee, you can do that. You can even just like chill in the kitchen while the meeting goes on if it's all too much to you. But just make sure that like you got to be somewhere and show up for someone. And I found that this worked exactly the same for my goals at the gym, because yes, I could. When I was at my sober living house, we had a pass for the YMCA that we could just sign out. But I knew that I'm starting to understand how little Chloe knows about Chloe. So if in the past that's never worked, I'm not going to start making those bullshit promises to myself again. So I called my friend David, who is the only personal trainer I like bothered to show up for occasionally when I was in active addiction, because I liked his personality. And I was like, are you still doing that thing? And he's like, yeah, but it's even better. I'm not a Good Life anymore. You don't have to buy a membership to the gym I work at. I'm like, sick. So then it was, people are like, you're spending this money to go and work out for an hour. Why can't you just go to the gym? It'll be free if you just go. I'm like, I can't just go. That's the problem. If I have to throw a bit of money at the issue, I'm going to be accountable. There's another human who showed up to this place expecting me to show up too. Right. Otherwise, I've made their entire trip pointless. So I've got to go. I've got to be there for them. And now it's become like, you know, it's about the social aspect as well. For me
at the gym, you mean?
Yeah. Just, but like also with it, it's like now it's like for the people, for the love I have for this program, for the people in it. Yeah, I'll show up for them. How do I ever repay something that gave me everything, you know?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you got to do it in small moments, right?
Yeah.
Give back, like you said. There's something that happens too in service where for 1 or 2 hours out of the day, whatever the commitment is, I'm not thinking about Anthony, and I'm not thinking about what Anthony did yesterday or what Anthony has to do tomorrow. Yep. And there's this kind of beautiful present moment that I can live in, mindful moment where I'm just me and myself and my higher power and enjoying life like as it ought to be enjoyed, right? Yep. You know? Yeah.
That inner peace, right? And I find too, there are little moments in my life outside of AA where I am still can be of service. And if I ever have that feeling like mom's like, take out the trash or whatever, and I'm kind of like, I could do it later. I think, no, I'm being of service to a woman who, despite whatever flaws she may possess, I love with all my heart. She gave me my life quite literally. I'm going to get up out of this circumstance. I'm going to go be of service to someone else for like a second. And it's just all these little things like that will probably have guaranteed my sobriety for at least the next 2 hours. And then, you know, I'll go to my meeting and then I'll probably make it home at the end of the day and still be sober.
Yeah. I want to ask you something a little bit more personal, and feel free to not want to talk about it or whatever, but was there a moment in your recovery where you maybe almost relapsed or were close to relapsing?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. What was it? It wasn't even that long ago. I think it just felt like a lot of stuff happened at once. There was an issue with my mom, and then a lot of negative self-talk about like, stupid, why did you do that? You knew she'd have that reaction. But the things that she said that particular day, I believe it was like literally like in June, it was this recent. I was trying to set a boundary. I had done everything right. You know, I had taken the time to go up to my room, scream into my pillow, beat the shit out of my pillow, pray, meditate, think about my side of the street, think about the language I've learned to talk about, you know, approaching when you're asking for something, keep I statements, all that stuff. I brought my emotions down. I went to her, and that's what made it more frustrating, was that when you do everything right and it still doesn't work, I have that belligerent, defiant, fuck you, I fucking knew it. Like, this is bullshit. I give up.
Never doing it again.
Exactly. I'm like, hopeless. I knew it. Yeah. So like that voice is still there. But that's how it went, and I had to like just keep my composure. But that day in particular, she said some things that were like word for word things that she'd say a lot when I was younger. And, you know, yeah, she's just selfish. And so it was hearing that again. I did not anticipate what flashback CPTSD kind of stuff that would suddenly erupt in my body. So suddenly my body didn't belong to me. And that's when it was like, I didn't start walking to the LCBO or anything like that. There's alcohol in the house. Didn't go for that either. But I was starting to plan. I was starting to think, what would be the worst thing that would happen? What if I told my sponsor first, this is what I'm going to do, and I don't care what you say, it's happening. You know, like how could I make it responsible? So that I was in like a planning stage, and I was like, this is bad, man. Like I haven't been negotiating with God to get this drink that I want. And I was like, this is a serious bad sign. So it was, instead, call the sponsor, tell her this is exactly what's going through my brain, and I'm really scared right now because I haven't felt this way in a while. And I didn't end up getting to that relapse. And I'm so glad for the surrender I found in that moment. And recently I found that I'd been really hard on myself for the fact that I'm completely willing, yet still sometimes don't surrender. Just because I'm willing doesn't mean I'm going to magically always do it, because I have 2 years and a handful of months, and that's not that long, really, when you look at other people. And the truth is, I don't think that quantity of time really matters in this thing. I think it's the quality of your sobriety, the dedication, and the openness and willingness to really give it all you got. And so that's what I did, and I made it through that. But it's absolutely possible. I told my sponsees about it, and I think I'm so grateful that I had that moment. I'm so grateful that, and I know it's not all up to me, it's really my higher power working, but it's like I had the sense to tell them the truth, because old Chloe would have been like, I can't tell them that, they're going to think I'm a fraud. But I was like, no, I'm going to tell her, this is how close I just came today. And she said, wow, you? Jesus, that really puts this shit into perspective. And I was like, I'm really
welcome
happy
to
you
recovery.
said that. Yeah, I was like, wow, I'm so glad I told you.
Yeah. Well, you make a lot of good points there, but I think a lot of people that are fresh in recovery, that just come in and have no experience with getting sober or trying to get sober, I did it too. We tend to put people on pedestals, right?
Yeah,
like
totally.
These 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year people, you're like, that guy's like a god right now. How did he do that? Right? He's got a suit on, he's got his wife back, he's got a car, right? And we put these people like kind of above us. And any good sponsor I've ever worked with or good member of recovery has that humility in them, where and most of them do actually, where it's like, no, man, you and I are just as close to that drink, the arm length away. We're just as close, we're the same. We're just as, the only difference is we're on a road. I'm a little bit further. I have a couple more days down the road than you, but the ditch is the same, man. Like we're on the same width of the road, right? The road is the same. The ditch is right there on either side. All I have to do is just pick up that one drink, and I'm worse off than you, right?
That's so good, Anthony. I love that. Bowling balls, gutter ball any minute. You'd never know.
There's no bumpers on them,
That's
in
right.
recovery. The ditch is deep, I've been in it many times, right? But the beautiful thing is that recovery gives me a ladder to kind of climb back out, right? No one's going to come and pull me out of the ditch when I fall in, but there's a ladder there that I have to. You said there's a difference between being ready and being willing to do something.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I can say I'm willing until I'm blue in the face, but until I make that phone call, and that is I always talk about on this podcast and in life. I would say, hands down, for me, the most powerful tool in recovery is picking up the friggin' phone and calling someone. And it doesn't even have to be picking up the phone, because you could be in an underground parking lot one day, right? And that's where the God thing comes in, is it's telling somebody what your plan is, or how you're gonna, your design or your idea, right? I've always I've had a mentor that used to say, like, if you have an idea, call me. If you have a plan, I think, go to a meeting or something. Like, that was always his thing, right? It was like, any idea that you have, just fly it by somebody, right? And it doesn't have to be like your sponsor or somebody in recovery, but even, that's preferred, right? But there was a moment there where your life could have gone in a very different direction. You might have died. You don't know what would happen. I wouldn't be here. Right? But exactly. Yeah. You learned a tool in recovery that was, tell somebody how, like I said, your plan. And I'm exactly the same way. That my phone is 1,000 pounds sometimes, and it's almost always because of fear. No, it is always because of fear, but it's usually the fear of judgment, right? like, I'm doing really well and they know I'm doing really well. How can I tell them that I'm like, how could I get vulnerable and tell them that I'm struggling? It's the hardest thing to do.
Will they be all concerned and shit for like the next 3 weeks, calling me every day? Or like, oh, yeah, exactly. I don't want to show that weakness.
It's weakness. That's a good one too.
Maybe I can just do this one on my own. But yeah, I don't have to.
Yeah. And then the great juxtaposition of it, the irony of it is that it's actually the strongest thing you can do is reach out for help, right? But we tend to label it with weakness because it shows vulnerability, right?
Yeah, and my perfectionist thing, that was what I was thinking about, was I'm so willing, yet sometimes I don't always surrender. What's the deal with that? Why aren't I there yet? I should be better at this by now. All of this stuff that I would never say or feel towards someone else in the program, but self-compassion is very difficult, right? But I'm like, I forgive myself for the fact that I can't always surrender, because that's okay. It's just so long as I do the right things about the moments when I'm really struggling to surrender, I feel I want to take that will back. And those reactions I'm so afraid of when I show that weakness, like when I told my sponsee or I told my sponsor, I never get the reactions my brain makes up for me. My brain's such a jerk. It like tortures me with incredible scenarios that never end up actually happening.
Especially when you're an actress.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
All these scenes play out in your head.
Oh, 100%. I've seen every movie like up here. But yeah, really quickly, what you were saying, I love so much about tell someone your plan, because it's like, okay, so I thought I was smarter than my disease. I was not, but I can outsmart my disease by telling someone the truth. Bam! Yeah. Took away your biggest tool, deny their addiction. No more lies, no more dishonesty. Everybody's in on it. Oh, what's that? It's not so fun anymore? Well, suck my dick. You don't win today, bitch. Like, I got it. I told my sponsor our plan. Ha! Now you can't hide. Like, my addiction is like, God damn it.
I love it.
We were going to have so much fun together. I was like, that's not true.
I love it. I got to have you in on my videos. Okay. You have some great ideas.
Do you remember Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yeah, I do.
When the sergeant, when Terry Crews, he starts eating too much and he gets fat, and then Charles tries to help him by giving him cacao nibs, but then he eats too many of those. But then he's trying to pretend that he's not addicted to them. And so he's making this big speech in the office. He's like, I took a look at them and I said, not today. Nibs. Like, sometimes I literally quote that out loud when I feel my addiction creeping up. I'm like, not today, Nibs. And then I make myself laugh, brush it off, tell someone my crazy story.
I love it.
And I'm back to life.
Yeah. I had a counselor in my last treatment center that used to say, you got to blow up your spot. And that's exactly what you said. It's God, like, I'll let you have that one. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Courtesy of Dave R. But I love that. That's every time I've relapsed, it was because I had a secret. And the secret starts as a little kindling fire in the back, here it's behind the shed. So no one really sees it. And then every minute, day, second, whatever went by, I didn't tell anybody about the little fire back there. I just threw more gas on it. Right. And then eventually I'm smoking meth in an Airbnb with people that I don't know. And some guy had it. So it seemed like a good idea. Yeah. And I'm back in treatment for the third time, but my brain doesn't go there. Right. My brain just looks at, but like, think about the dopamine hit that will come of this. Right.
Yeah.
Or think about, all the feelings that'll go away. Right. In this moment. Amazing. Let's close with this.
Okay.
And I always close with this. And I know I always say that, so I'm sorry. But if you could say something to someone struggling right now with addiction, with mental health, just come off a fresh relapse, what would you say?
Okay, I'm going to steal from the speaker we had at Willowdale Shepherd last night, because he said to the newcomer what he was told the first time he ended up at a meeting. So, like, if you're struggling, go to a meeting. And then once you're there, you are in the right place and everything's going to be okay.
Simple.
Yeah. You're in the right place and everything's going to be okay.
I love it.
Yeah, me too.
And for those that, hate 12-step meetings, it's okay, right? But there's smart recovery. There's tons of other meetings.
Absolutely.
Tons of other recovery groups. I love that, because it's like we can overcomplicate it, right? So much. And it's like, just show up to a place where other people have your best interests in mind.
Exactly.
Are sober, preferably sober, and working on themselves. And the rest will kind of work itself out, right? But you got to show up.
Even if you're not at a meeting yet, you're home, you're isolating, you feel lonely. If you fall to get on your knees, put your hands up, out, palms up, right? You're in the right place. Even in that state, you're in the right place, and everything's going to be okay.
It will. As long as I don't pick up today too, right?
Yeah. And all one day at a time. Future is unknowable, and we don't have to worry about it because of that. So just today, just in this moment even, because you can only be with God if you are in the moment. God doesn't exist tomorrow or yesterday. He's here right now. That's it. And I choose to call my higher power God, but I just want to clarify that it's not a religious God.
Yeah. I always say it's a 3-letter word that's easier, right?
Right.
God, great outdoors, group of drunks,
Mm-hmm.
good orderly direction.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Thanks so much for coming down, Chloe.
Thank you so much for having me.
That was amazing. Yeah. I feel energized right now. It's not because of the Red Bull. I mean, it's a little bit because of that.
A little bit because of
you
that.
got a great energy, and I think you can continue to help a lot of people.
I'd
women.
like to, yeah. If I can combine my passion for performance and addiction, I'll have it made in the shade, baby.
Yeah.
Like, that would be the dream.
Smooth sailing. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony.
Thanks for listening. Please help us grow the channel and like, share, and subscribe for more content. The discussions and stories shared on this podcast are for informational and motivational purposes only. This content is not a substitute for professional medical advice, addiction treatment, or therapy. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, please consult a licensed physician, addiction specialist, or mental health professional. You are no longer alone.